Thank you, Nate. Thank you all for coming today. Before we dive into my topic, I want to ask you a question. How many of you have interacted with artificial intelligence in the last week or so? So it should be closer to all of you, because if you look at the definition of artificial intelligence in any dictionary, you will see that it's the development of a computer that will be able to perform tasks normally require human intelligence. So it's anything like decision-making, pattern recognition, and even translating one language to another. So if you have been using your GPS to get here today, or you talk to Siri or Google Assistant, or even translated something online, you have been interacting with AI. My passion for artificial intelligence is what led me to choose my major to be computer science. And my mission in life is to simplify both complicated and routine tasks so that more time and energy will be available for us to what matters to us in life. Now, I've been doing my own research about AI in the last 4 years. And 4 years is not nearly enough to call myself an expert, but I have been studying from the best professionals in the field, people like Max Tegmark, Ray Kurzweil, James Barrett, and Eric Horowitz, all who are either working with AI or doing a lot of research about it. Today I would like to tell you why I think that everyone should know the basics of artificial intelligence by showing you how influential this technology is and some of the latest advances in AI. I will also talk about the history of AI, components of AI, and finish up with what are the possible outcomes researchers are envisioning for this amazing but dangerous technology. Starting off in 1950, Alan Turing developed the Turing test, a test that enables us to determine if a computer is capable of human intelligence or not. In 1955, a man named John McCarthy, an American computer scientist, had coined the term artificial intelligence. In 1961, the first robot was created on an assembly line in General Motors. In 1965, ELIZA, the first chatbot, was created in MIT Research Lab. In 1997, that's where things started to get interesting. This is the point where IBM's Deep Blue was created and was able to beat Garry Kasparov, the world champion in chess at a chess game. In 2010, Google DeepMind was created. 6 years after, he was able to master the board game Go, an ancient Chinese board game that is 100 times more complicated than chess, and he was able to beat Lee Sedol, the world champion at Go, 4-1. Thinking back about how less than 70 years ago we created our first computer, something that was big as a room and could only make one calculation very slowly. Today we have a chip that is literally the size of a grain of salt, if you can see that black dot over there, and it can make millions of calculations simultaneously. Moore's law states that the number of transistors on a microchip doubles every 2 years, while their cost is halved. Apply this knowledge to the world of artificial intelligence. A modern example of modern-day AI is Sophia, a robot that was created by and even given citizenship by Saudi Arabia. This robot is capable of holding a conversation on a human-level intelligence, and it has 62 different facial expressions. And it looks pretty realistic too, if you ignore the arms and the open head. We're still working on it. One of the main components of AI is the neural network. And that's an example of a simple neural network that takes an image on the left side, analyzes it in some way, and then gives the output on the right side. Now, I'm not going to go into how exactly it does it because it can get very technical, but what I want you to know is that a neural network is essentially the brain of the AI. It's a module that best describes how our brain functions, learns, and makes decisions. And the thing is, even though this module of how our brain thinks is pretty abstract, I mean, think about it. Is that really it? Is that how our brain works? Well, right now it's all that we know. We still don't know a lot about our own brains, and one day AI might be able to help us answer this question. And the closer we are getting to that day, the closer we are getting to AI gaining consciousness. Now, consciousness is another very abstract word. Consciousness is the state of being aware of ourselves. I think, therefore I am. And we all know that we can think. We all know that we are aware of ourselves. Therefore, we are conscious. But what about some animals? It has been proven that animals like dogs are able of learning, imitating human behavior, and even having dreams. So I'm curious to what you're thinking. By those definitions, who thinks that a dog is a conscious being? All right. What about an ant? Who thinks that an ant is a conscious being? I see a lot less hands now. So where exactly between a dog and an ant do we draw the line of consciousness? Where do we say that this is where consciousness is formed? We don't know exactly yet. And AI will maybe be able to help us answer that question. Now, all the examples of AI that I have been talking about today, Google DeepMind, IBM Deep Blue, Siri, GPS, are all part of sub-branch that is called ANI, Artificial Narrow Intelligence. The thing about artificial narrow intelligence is that it's only capable of doing one task on a human level intelligence. The next stage will be AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. On this stage, AI will be able to do anything you could do, both intellectually and physically, only much better. So, we are not there yet, but researchers expect that we will reach AGI in the next century or so. So if you are in your 20s right now, you have a 90% chance to see AGI before the day you die. And if you still think that AI is incapable of reaching human-level intelligence, let me introduce to you the Church-Turing hypothesis that says if a brain process can be expressed as a set of instructions, an algorithm, then a computer can process information the same way. If you have done any type of coding in your life, you would know that a program is just a set of instructions, a very specific instructions. That is, if you miss telling him a very basic step that looks trivial and obvious to you, the program will definitely miss it, get confused, and abort the whole mission. So it doesn't matter how complicated a program is, it's just a set of instructions. If this, then that. And when you think about it, our whole lives are revolved around this module of stimulate, response. If I'm hungry, then I'll go to eat. If I'm tired, then I'll go to sleep. This is how algorithms are built. Now, AI is not just a bunch of code and a nice suit to cover it. It's a very interdisciplinary field that involves computer science, math, neuroscience, biology, psychology, and so much more. But I want to talk for a second about something that I think where AI shines the most, and that is in neuroscience. Elon Musk's company, Neuralink, are working on creating a microscopic chip that is even smaller than the chip you saw before, and it will be able to connect to our brains and open the door to a lot of new applications. Those threads that you see there are all actually needles that go inside of our brain and connect to our neurons in the brain. That will enable us to control the chip, and because it's a double-edged sword, in some way it will have control over us. But that's a good thing, because with this technology we might be able to cure, with this implant we might be able to cure diseases like Parkinson, dementia, and other brain-related diseases. We might be able to take a patient who is paralyzed from the neck down, reconnect those severe neurons between the head and the rest of the body, and enable him to walk again. How amazing is that? There's still so much more to learn about artificial intelligence, but the most important thing I want you to remember is this. A lot of researchers, scientists, and famous figures like Elon Musk, Stephen Hawking, may he rest in peace, and Bill Gates are talking a lot about the safety of AI, because they know that the success of us using this technology depends on how well we prepare for it. Let me give you an example. If aliens sent us a message saying, people of Earth, We will be arriving on your planet in 50 years. How will we be spending those 50 years? We will be preparing for them, right? And since they did not specify if they are coming with good or bad intentions, we will have to get ready for both scenarios. This is exactly the stage that we are today with AI. The only difference is that we don't know how exactly long it will take. It could take more or less than 50 years. But eventually, sooner or later, AGI will emerge. Max Tegmark talks about the possible outcomes from artificial intelligence. He explains that there are two main ways that we could go about it. Either we create an android, an AI with a body, or we decide to create AI without a body and create some sort of a supercomputer. Each one of these have very drastic after effects. For example, if we decide to create a mastermind, there are two main ways that we could go about it. Either we create an enslaved god, an AI that is under human supervision and constantly being checked by us humans, and every output that it gives will be tested. But it still could potentially able to answer each and every of our dumb questions. On another side, we could create something like a protecting angel, an AI that is not under human supervision and is free to use to everyone on the planet Earth, and thus rendering this AI obsolete in some way. If we decide to give that AI a body and create an android, there are also two main ways that we can go about it. Either we will be successful at creating a friendly AI, an AI who's perfectly aligned with our goals, and with enough time it becomes part of our society. But on the other hand, we might end up in a scenario that he calls the descendants. In this scenario, AI was created to help us solve the problems of the world, but it comes to the conclusion that we humans are the main source of the problem and decides to eliminate us, taking our top spot at the food chain and becoming our descendants. Bringing things to a close, I don't want you to feel like the end of the world is coming with this technology and there's nothing that we can do about it. Quite the opposite. There is still enough time for us to take control of our future. How do we do it? Well, I think that AI will be the most influential technology in the near future. And this is why I think that everyone should educate themselves at least about the basics of artificial intelligence. And I want to finish up with a quote from Stephen Hawking. Computers will overtake humans with AI in the next 100 years. When that happens, we better make sure that their goals are aligned with ours. It doesn't matter whether you want it or not, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with this statement or not, AGI is coming. The only thing we can do is get ready for it. Because AGI might not make our lives easier. It might not break the job market. It might not change the ways that the norms and the ways that we socialize, but it will sure as hell will be our final invention. Thank you.